Okay, guys, I see many of you have joined. We can start. Can someone please confirm if my screen is visible? Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Excellent. Sure. Thank you. Right. So we covered availability set, right? Now let's quickly have a look at availability zone, and then we'll be able to move to the next topic. I hope this is clear to everyone now. And when we do practical, it will make sense to you. Okay. Now let's talk about availability zone. Okay, now I go to Azure with the same application. I say, okay, I'm ready to move away from your West US region because it has only one feature of highly available application. Ultimately, my aim is to get my application highly available, right? I want high availability. I'm okay with the region now. There is no compliance. So let's move from West US. What other option do you have? Then Azure says that, okay, if you go to my so and so region, XYZ region, there we have availability zone as well. In this matter, we can talk about Pune region, which is known as Central, India Central. But now we know that it is in Pune. So now we are going to India Central region. This region has availability zone. Does it mean it won't have availability set? It will obviously have availability set, right? Availability set is basic, it's everywhere. But when you have availability zone, no one will use or no one will even ask about availability set, right? So here you have availability zone. Now, what do you mean by availability zone? Availability zone, Azure says that, okay, I have a region here. It's called Pune or Central India region. This region has 3 data centers. Earlier, I had one data center, right? This region has 3 data centers. So this is data center 1, data center 2, and then we have data center 3. I'm writing DC, which means data center in this example. Data center 2, data center 3. Fine. Obviously, what will we have in data center? Again, multiple racks. On those racks, servers, multiple ISPs, etc. Everything like what we see. We saw the detailed version of data center in the previous example. Here I'm just drawing the data center. Now, if I tell you that, okay, I want highly available application, Azure will say, fine, you come here and you start deploying your servers if you want high availability then. If not, you can again go ahead with no redundancy. Just because there is an option available, that is not a compulsion. So here also I can have single server for single application and that's it. But I want highly available application. So what will happen here? यहाँ पर मुझको कोई set वगैरह कुछ नहीं बनाना है. It's simply available. At the time of creation, I will just select, while creating my first server, I will have to select it manually that I'm using availability set 1. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm using availability zone and using uh, zone 1. This I will have to select manually. बहुत छोटा सा ऑप्शन है, इसमें कोई टेक्निकल कुछ नहीं है, छोटा सा ऑप्शन है. We'll see that when we start building machines. When I create my second machine, and I have selected availability zone. I have decided, selected as in पोर्टल पे कुछ नहीं select करना होता initially. At the time of first server तभी select करना होता आपको. So at the first server, I have selected availability zone. While creating second also, I will select availability zone, and there I will select zone 2. Unlike availability set, what did I tell you in availability set? Do you have to select anything or do you have any option कि यहाँ जाना चाहिए वहां जाना चाहिए? Do we have that liberty in availability set, guys?
Oh,
No.
No.
No, we don't.
Right. But in availability zone, you can. Second server also, you can send it on availability zone 1 if you want. But why would you do that? When you are selecting availability zone, which means you want your servers to be segregated, right? सब कुछ अगर आप इसमें कर दोगे zone 1 में ही डाल दोगे, and if this data center, whole data center is down, then what is the use of it? Right? So by default, you will select zone 3. and here if you want zone here zone 2, and if you want you will select zone 3 here, अगर आपको चाहिए तो. Otherwise you can play in zone 1 zone 2 zone 1 zone 2, इस तरह से भी कर सकते हो. 3. Now next server when I create, it is not a compulsion that it has to go to zone 1 or it will go to zone 1. You will start creating server, it will ask you an option, where do you want to keep it. I am saying कि यार मेरे पास let's say odd number है, तो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ ज्यादा जाना ही है. So let's put it in zone 1. I'm happy with it. So this is possible. I can have n number of servers here and not necessary कि zone 1 में ही आए, यहाँ पर आए, वो भी necessary नहीं है. ठीक है, you can have a server here also. This could be your fourth server. This is server number 3, zone number 3. You are deploying your fourth server. You don't even have to go in the same order. You can have your server number 4 in zone number 2. Obviously maximum zone we have 3. I mean we don't have any region जहां पर 3 से ज्यादा data center है. यहाँ पर zone का मतलब है data center. So now if something goes wrong with the whole data center, this is the next level of high availability guys. पहले हमने जो देखा, what was that? If something goes wrong with a rack, then it will cover. If something goes wrong with one ISP, then it will cover. But in first example, if I tell you मेरा पूरा data center ही down है, there is a flood like situation and पूरा data center down है, what do you think? Will my server work? मेरा availability set लेकर कोई फायदा होगा? If whole data center is down, पूरा building का सब कुछ down है वहां पर, do you think then availability set is working?
No.
No, right? So this is the next level of high availability where I'm talking about zone, because this data center, this is situated maybe in east side of city, तो ये कहीं पर west में होगा, तो ये कहीं पर south में होगा, मतलब इतना ज्यादा distance होगा इनमें. So even if this data center is down completely, let's say this one south one or west data center, जो west में कोई है data center, let's say we don't know कहाँ पर होते हैं, we don't know the locations. This is just for your example. East, west, south में I'm just using for example. I could have used area's name, but not all of you are from same city, so it won't make any sense. People who are from Pune understand, just think that this is from, you can say this is in Magarpatta, this is in Hinjewadi, and this is somewhere in Wagoli, right? But they are in segregated location. So if this data center is down, what do you think? Is my application working or not?
Yes, it's working.
It is working, right? So when it comes to explanation for your interviewer, I explained it in detail. We almost took 2 hours yesterday and one hour now. इंटरव्यू में इतना टाइम नहीं मिलने वाला आपको एक्सप्लेन करने का. सो बेसिक आंसर वुड बी, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अवेलेबिलिटी सेट एंड अवेलेबिलिटी जोन. Availability set is to get rid of or to overcome the rack level failure. कोई रैक लेवल का फेलियर होता है तो अवेलेबिलिटी सेट काम में आ रहा है. डेटा सेंटर लेवल का फेलियर में अवेलेबिलिटी सेट काम में आएगा नहीं. अवेलेबिलिटी जोन इज योर डेटा सेंटर लेवल फेलियर. ये है इसका रेमेडी है कि अगर आपका होल डेटा सेंटर डाउन है, किसी रीजन का एक डेटा सेंटर, स्टिल यू आर गेटिंग योर सर्विसेज फ्रॉम टू डिफरेंट रीजन्स, बी इट अवेलेबिलिटी सेट और अवेलेबिलिटी जोन, टू मेक श्योर कि ये सारे सर्वर पे सेम एप्लीकेशन है, ये सब कुछ सिंक हो रहा है, ये सब कुछ हो रहा है. इट इज योर जॉब. Azure is not doing it for you. There are multiple third party softwares etc. We are going to see that later when we do the practical. But इसकी जिम्मेदारी Azure की नहीं है. But if this is not being synced properly और ये डाउन हो जाता है, उसके बाद आपकी ये एप्लीकेशन नहीं चल रहा बिकॉज सिंक नहीं हुआ, दैट इज नॉट Azure's promise. It is not a part of their SLA. Their SLA is कि हमारा अगर ये डेटा सेंटर डाउन है तो आपको IT इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यहां से मिल जाएगा. Is this clear guys to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So availability set, rack level failure, server level failure, availability zone, data center level failure. Can I use availability zone in all the regions in Azure across the globe?
No.
No. Why? It is not available.
Yes.
No, whoever said yes, it's wrong answer. I didn't even look who answered, but it's wrong answer, guys. अगर हर एक में अवेलेबिलिटी जोन होता, why would we even think about availability set then? What is availability zone? Availability zone is when you have 3 data centers in one region. If you
तो
don't
ये
have
ऑप्शन
three
वही
data
possible
centers,
होगा ना?
sorry,
Sorry, ये this is only possible where we have two different data center in the same zone. Then only we can utilize that service, right?
yes, yes,
And
two
otherwise,
or more.
when we yeah, minimum two,
Hmm.
and the option will always be there while we are creating the machine or and selecting the region to deploy it. It will give me the option whether the zone is available or not. If not, then we can use the this set option.
Availability set, and that is not necessary again, guys. These are optionals. If you want to use, you can. If you don't want to use, it's okay, you can leave it. Availability set, availability zone, these are not compulsion. This is a region which has availability zone. What does it mean? कि उस region में 3 data center हो गए. So not all of the regions of Azure they have availability zone. That's not true. There are few regions जहां पर उनकी बस एक ही data center की building है. So availability zone is not possible in all the regions. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see. We'll see because now we have spoken about regions so much. It wasn't planned today, but let me quickly do one thing. Cover something related to regions. What is Azure region? We have already covered, right? I am sure you guys know the definition of region, etc. We have covered that in day one session. But on what basis do you select region? Do you know that? Yes, guys. On what basis do you think I'll select the region?
Based on the physical location.
IO time?
Whose physical location?
Is it IO time?
Sorry, what do you mean by that? What time?
I mean, the
Input output, did you
communication
mean?
time between the servers.
Mm, yes, these are technical. Give me one layman example. On what basis?
The
A business base. A
latency,
business base.
the latency. I
Yes,
mean,
latency again, it's a
how
very
much
technical
time,
word.
it will take to load the application, process my request, or
Yes, let me give you an example. Okay, you are planning to have an application like Swiggy. Okay, we are using a lot of Swiggy. I hope they don't ask anything from us. So we are using Swiggy here application. This is your application. Okay, it's not one server. I hope you understand. When I say application, it has plenty of servers, etc. ABC, backend server, front-end server, application, database. So approximately 1,000 server. This is the application I'm planning to run. Now, what is the business model of Swiggy, guys? Yes, what is the business model of Swiggy? What do we do on Swiggy?
we
Order
order
food
food.
only.
Food ordering. So let's say that as of now, I'm talking about Pune. So my users, they are ordering food from Pune, right? So let me create some users here. These users are based in Pune. So what do you think? Is it a wise idea that my users, all of them are in Pune, right? Now I understand Swiggy doesn't only work in Pune, it works overall. There are different methods, CDN, etc. for that. But just for your understanding, I'm talking about here. Okay, these are my users. So my users are based out of Pune. Do you think it's a wise idea to host my application uh, somewhere in US? What do you think? Is it a good idea?
No.
No.
Though because it isn't over the internet, still there will be some latency. And this is not the only reason. This is not the only parameter. Next parameter, fine. These guys are ordering something on Swiggy. What is happening next? ये ऑर्डर प्लेस कहाँ पर हो रहा है? What is happening next? क्या होता है स्विगी में? आपने सर्च कर लिया, खाना बिना ऑर्डर कर दिया. What do you think happens next on Swiggy app? Where does it send?
It
स्विगी अपने
will
पास तो रखेगा नहीं आपका ऑर्डर, राइट?
it will send the orders to the local partners.
to restaurants, right? You call it partner restaurants, right? Now, what do you think? A guy sitting in Pune, will he order something from US? Will he order something from Mumbai? No. Obviously, he's ordering from nearby places. Again, which is in, they are in Pune. Now, I have two sets of users, my restaurant and my end users, and both of them are in Pune. And here, if I tell you that, okay, host your complete infrastructure in US, do you think that makes sense? Yes, guys, what
No.
do you think? No, definitely not, right? So this is an example on what basis do you select your region. So if your business, it has nothing to do with your office location. Maybe you're sitting in India. For example, Zepto, I don't think so. It's uh, from an Indian guy, right? It's from outside. They are sitting somewhere else. But where are their targets? Where are their users? That is important. आप कहाँ पर बैठे हो, it doesn't matter. Where your application is being catered, that matters. Your users are in Pune, your restaurants are in Pune, it should be in Pune. Where are you sitting? It doesn't matter. From your location, it should not matter. Right? It should be end users. So if I open my command prompt and if I ping google.com, okay, I'm getting replies, right? So this time, the time which I'm getting when it comes to this one, getting a reply from them, this time is called latency. Here, if you see minimum 8 millisecond, maximum 9 millisecond, because I had pinged it 4 times, 4 packets were sent. What does it mean? कि Google का जो nearby server है मेरा, if I'm getting services from Google, if I'm trying to access Google, तो ये इतने कम टाइम में हो रहा है. But if I ping any website, sorry, if I ping any website which is in US, if I get any particular website, you will see ये latency बढ़ के हो जाएगा 200 millisecond approximate. Though it sounds for us millisecond बहुत छोटा sound कर रहा है, but nowadays just imagine there was a study कि जहां पर delay होता है application में, people are not ready to wait. I'll give you an example. You purchase something and you're trying to make a payment. You open Google Pay. How much time do you think you'll wait? If it is taking more than 15 seconds to open and scan and make the payment, will you just keep waiting there for Google Pay to come back, or what will you do?
Switch to different application.
Use
Simply,
another application.
yes, you'll simply go to Phone Pay, Bharat Pay. There are n number of applications nowadays. So same thing happens here. So if you don't have latency good enough, a good experience with client, they will not do business with you. That is the reason it is very important to select your region properly. I have explained it to you. Does it mean that you will do it for your client? Being an Azure administrator, do you think you should be doing that?
No.
Definitely not. It will be discussed at your architect level, their team, your application owner, application uh, team will decide. Ultimately, the build sheet which you get, I will show you one build sheet also, don't worry. Build sheet which you get, you will have this information. But why did I explain it to you? You should know the logic. Right? ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपको ठीक है बनाना तो आता है, बस उसके पीछे का लॉजिक नहीं पता. यू शुड नो कि हाँ कुछ ये सोच के किया होगा. बाय द वे, इज दिस द ओनली रीजन? नो. व्हाट कुड बी अदर रीजन? कंप्लायंस. ठीक है. आई हैव वन एप्लीकेशन जहां पे मैं लोगों का फाइनेंशियल डेटा रखता हूँ. सो इफ इट इज अबाउट इंडियन कस्टमर्स, इंडियन गवर्नमेंट वोंट अलाउ मी टू होस्ट माय सर्वर out of India. I cannot go to any US region. I'll be compelled to host it in India region. If it is about UAE customers, their government won't let them go out of India, out of their country. So next could be compliance reason. One more reason is there. Now let's say that this one is very important reason. I mean, everyone will relate with this. Now let's say that I have an application, बहुत ही basics application है. सॉरी, नो कंप्लायंस, कोई गवर्नमेंट को कोई लेना देना नहीं, फन एप्लीकेशन है, लेटेंसी से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, बहुत बेसिक एप्लीकेशन है. सो इट्स माय विश, वेर एवर आई वांट टू होस्ट आई कैन डू इट. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक द नेक्स्ट फैक्टर शुड बी इन माय माइंड? या एक एप्लीकेशन ओनर, एक बिजनेस ओनर क्या सोचेगा व्हेन ये कंप्लायंस इश्यूज वगैरह नहीं है मेरे पास? सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज माय प्रायोरिटी देन?
Costing.
Sorry,
Costing.
as in
Cost.
yes,
Yeah.
as in cost, as in uh, कि
How
आप
much I'm
कितना उस
going
पे
to
खर्चा
pay to
करोगे,
the
right,
service.
costing, right. So here it is. I want to host my application, and for that I'll require one virtual machine. ये इसका कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है, इतना वर्चुअल मशीन मेरे लिए काफी है, ठीक है, दैट इज फाइन। सब कुछ ये सब करके मुझको कितना कॉस्ट हो रहा है, आई कैन चेंज इट टू INR, बट दैट्स ओके, एज ऑफ नाउ नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, यू विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, और लेट्स चेंज इट, गिव्स यू गुड फीलिंग। 11,739 rupees, this is what I will pay. I mean, there are many things which we can change here, but that's not the example we are trying to understand here. Okay, what we are trying to understand on what basis region select होते हैं। फर्स्ट टू रीजन हमने देख लिए, ठीक है, दोज आर टू फैक्टर्स, उन पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया जा सकता है। जस्ट टू सेव $100 यू विल नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन योर लेटेंसी, अल्टीमेटली यू लूज योर बिजनेस। जस्ट टू सेव few $100 you will not compromise with your compliance, your company will be blocked by your government, right? So उन दो पे वैसे ही कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया जा सकता, but I'm saying there are n number of applications जिसपे ना कोई compliance है ना latency का issue है, right? So in that manner, in that case, costing, like Varshar bhai said, costing is the factor which will decide. I can change this, इससे costing कम ज्यादा हो जाएगा, but this is not the example now. This is not what we are learning now. What we are learning is region. So look at this. I am planning to host my website on only one virtual machine. I'm okay with it. ये virtual machine का size है. Now what is size, etc. We'll see that later. How many hours it has considered? 730 hours. Why do you think it has covered 730 hours? Any idea? Rough guess. Why 730 hours?
As per the usage,
So why
high
730?
availability.
500 hours क्यों नहीं? No. Don't give vague answers, guys. What do you mean by high availability? कहाँ से आ गया इसमें? I'm saying
100
730 hours का billing क्यों दे रहा है वो? It's very logical. It's
100%
मतलब
100%
monthly
आप टाइम कमिट नहीं कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए होगा आई थिंक थोड़ा।
नहीं. It's not 730 rupees per hour. My question is कि जो कोटेशन आपको मिल रहा है ना,
हाँ
11,739 रुपीज का, ये 730 घंटे यूज करने का कोटेशन मिल रहा है। तो ये
करेक्ट।
लॉजिक क्या है 730 घंटे का?
So that is for
They
12
are
hours.
expecting some.
for
They are
monthly
expecting
basis.
downtime in a month.
मंथली, someone answered it monthly. Yes, 24 into
Yeah.
31 कर लो आप, वो 720 730 आ जाता, तो ये मंथली बिलिंग दे रहा है आपको। बट एज्योर की बिलिंग जो है वो आर्ली बेस पे होता है, इनफैक्ट मिनट बेस पे होता है, इसलिए आपको कोटेशन वो आर्ली बेस पे दे रहा है। सो दैट इफ यू यूज वर्चुअल मशीन विद दिस साइज फॉर 730 hours, which means for a month, then you will be cost 11,739 rupees, इतने आपके पैसे लगेंगे। दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड, ठीक है? बट व्हाट इज द कैच हियर? रीजन इज ईस्ट यूएस। आई एम सेइंग यार मेरे पास कोई कंप्लायंस इशू कुछ नहीं है, can I try changing region in costing में difference होगा? What do you think? If I change region, costing में difference होगा? Obviously होगा. Why? In US, every state they have their own taxation system. And यहाँ तो हम पूरे globe की बात कर रहे हैं. So if I take it for India, I may be charged extra. I may be charged less. So let's see. Same configuration, same number of hours. I'm not changing anything except for region. East US में अपना service host करता हूँ तो I'm paying 11,739 rupees. Let's say if I go to Israel, look at this. What am I doing? 12,000. Australia, 13,000. East Asia, 13,000. Africa, 15,000. So don't just think from one point of view. Now think someone is coming from Africa. उसको पहले region बताया था किसी ने Africa, because you are sitting in Africa, you can host it in Africa. But that guy may say that why should I pay 15,000? Let's try another region. So if that guy is hosting something in US, it will be cheaper for him, 13,000, right? So let's say 13 से भी कम कहीं पर मिल रहा है क्या? 11,000. Look at this. West US to 11,000 I'm paying. Let's say Canada, 12,000. So are you guys getting it? What could be the next reason, very important reason to selecting your region? It can be the cost. ठीक है? Now, I opened one website. It is just to check the latency. that okay, I am sitting here और यहाँ से मुझको किसी रीजन पे कोई सर्विस को ये करना है और आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट द रीजन बट मुझको सेलेक्ट करना है. सो यू कैन कम टू दिस साइट और यहाँ पर आप अपना लेटेंसी टेस्ट कर सकते हो. दैट वेयर यू आर सिटिंग, लुक एट दिस. जहां पर भी मैं हूँ, इसने मेरा लोकेशन कहाँ से लिया होगा? ऑब्वियसली यूजिंग माई आईपी. ठीक है. फ्रॉम माई रीजन टू किस रीजन पे कितना टाइम मुझको लगेगा वो यहाँ पर देखिए. वी आर नॉट गोइंग इनटू दैट, तो ये सब हम बाद में देखने वाले, बट दिस इज जस्ट टू शो यू. एंड दिस इज, एंड इट्स नॉट ओनली अवेलेबल इन Azure. लुक एट दिस, दिस इज AWS. ठीक है. लुक एट दिस. ये यहाँ पर बता रहा है कि मेरे लोकेशन से लेटेंसी कौन से रीजन पे सबसे कम है. इफ आई वांट टू होस्ट इट ऑन AWS, आई थिंक आई विल गो अहेड विद दिस वन, AP साउथ. कितना कम लेटेंसी है यहाँ पर? एशिया पैसिफिक, पैसिफिक साउथ रीजन. अब यहाँ पर आके कॉस्टिंग क्या होगा, दैट आई मे हैव टू चेक अगेन. ऐसे तो नहीं है कि लेटेंसी इतनी कम है और कॉस्टिंग में डबल पे कर रहा हूँ. तो ये सारा फिगर आउट जो है ये आपके पास आने से पहले ऑलरेडी हो चुका होता है. बट आई होप नाउ यू अंडरस्टूड द लॉजिक. इज इट क्लियर गाइस टू एवरीवन? Yes,
Yes,
no, maybe, any doubt?
yes, clear it is.
Okay, look at this. ये मेरा लोकेशन इसने पिक कर लिया है. यूजर, दिस इज माय लोकेशन, पुणे महाराष्ट्र. एंड यहाँ से लेटेंसी ये बता रहा है कि वेयर ऑल कैन यू होस्ट योर वेबसाइट. सिटिंग हियर आई कैन होस्ट माय वेबसाइट यहाँ पर. आई कैन डू दैट. बट व्हाट्स द पॉइंट? अनलेस आई हैव सम कंप्लायंस रीजन, बहुत ज्यादा चीप मिल रहा है, व्हाई शुड आई अननेसेसरी यूटिलाइज माय लेटेंसी, राइट? सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर कॉस्टिंग, कंप्लायंस, लेटेंसी. इन सारी चीजों पे आपका ये डिपेंड करता है कि कौन सा रीजन आप लोग ये करोगे. So I hope this is clear to everyone now. Any doubts, any questions,
Yes.
guys? Fine. Though you guys won't have to select it. You guys won't have to decide it for your customer, but you should know. Right? So now let's go ahead and have a look at Azure tenant. Azure subscription. I'm just making note of it, so later on it will be easier for me to send you questions. Subscription, and if time permits, we are going to have a look at resource group, RBAC, IAM. All of these should come in one session. It will be easier for you to revise whenever you want to do it. Okay. So now, let's say this is Azure. This is completely Azure setup across the globe. Now, are you getting anything personal for yourself? क्या Azure कोई आपको अलग से डेटा सेंटर बनाकर दे रहा है? What do you think? Is it happening? We have seen it, right? कि हमारे पास तो ये कंट्रोल भी नहीं है कि एक सर्वर जो फिजिकल सर्वर है, if I'm using one machine, some other company can use another machine on that. I hope it is clear to everyone till now. I don't even have that control. So when I talk about hosting my infrastructure, what kind of assurity I get कि यार मेरा डेटा किसी और के साथ शेयर नहीं हो रहा है. I am also on Azure, you are also on Azure, you are my competitor. How do I know that my data is not being utilized by you or your data is not visible for me? Right? So what Azure has done, in Azure environment, they have given you the space on rent. Hence, you are being called a tenant. आपकी कंपनी जो है वो कहलाती है वहां पर टेनेंट. सो if I go here, this is Azure. The blue one is representing Azure. Black line is representing companies. So this is, let's say, UT-Kloud. While registering with Azure, they will ask me what is my domain. I'll give them my domain. Right? So now this is my tenant on Azure. So when I say tenant, इसका मतलब कुछ नहीं है कि भाई आपकी कंपनी का जो नाम है जिससे आप लॉगिन वगैरह करने वाले हो, that is your tenant. Azure पे जो आपका स्पेस है, that is your tenant. Is it possible, or is it the case that I'm the only one here? No, that's not the case. We have plenty of companies. Mine is one of them. Ultimately, what are we doing? We all are under Azure's umbrella. We are using same hardware. सब कुछ same हम use कर रहे हैं. Is this clear, guys, to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. The moment I register my tenant with Azure, what happens? The moment I register my tenant, I get Azure's Active Directory. People who are familiar with Active Directory, they will understand what is Azure's Active Directory. Who are not, understand one thing: Active Directory is nothing. It's a place where you can uh, create your users, right? Now you will be purchasing your tenant or you'll be creating your tenant. Who does that? Maybe the director of your IT, जिसकी भी कंपनी है, कोई नया सेटअप है, उसने अगर किसी दूसरे कंपनी को आउटसोर्स किया है तो उनका कोई कंसल्टेंट, or maybe if it's my own IT company, I will go ahead and buy a tenant. But do you think it is possible for me alone to do everything? कि मैंने ही टेनेंट बाय कर लिया, उसके बाद मैं ही मशीन बना रहा हूँ, सिक्योरिटी भी मैं देख रहा हूँ, स्टोरेज, एवरीथिंग, सब कुछ मैं कर लूंगा? इज इट पॉसिबल where I have thousands of servers? Yes, guys, is
No.
it possible?
No.
Definitely not,
No.
right? So what will I need? I will need my staff. And now if I want my staff to work here, let's say a director level guy purchases a subscription, a tenant. ठीक है, tenant ये कर लिया इस बंदे ने. This guy will hire some operation managers or program manager, whatever you want to call them. These guys will hire team lead or tech lead. Then we'll have engineers, right? Similarly, if it is a company, बस इनसे तो काम नहीं चलेगा. If I have these many employees, then I will have someone from HR, I will have someone from admin, I will have someone from payroll, finance, etc., etc., right? So this is how a company works. तो ये सबको भी तो आईडी वगैरह चाहिए होगा बनाने के लिए. मे बी दे आर नॉट कमिंग हियर, और हर कोई टेक्निकल काम नहीं करेगा, बट एचआर का भी कोई एप्लीकेशन होगा जिसपे आके वो अपना एचआर का काम करेगा, हायरिंग वगैरह का, पॉलिसीज बनाना, ईमेल सेंड करना, एक्सेट्रा, राइट? फाइनेंस का कोई अपना काम होगा. आई विल हैव माई ओन लीगल डिपार्टमेंट ऑल्सो. दूसरे क्लाइंट से जब मुझको डॉक्यूमेंट्स वगैरह साइन करवाने हैं, कुछ है, राइट, आई विल हैव लीगल डिपार्टमेंट ऑल्सो. तो इस तरह से मल्टीपल डिपार्टमेंट्स आपके इसमें होते हैं. तो आई वॉन्ट टू क्रिएट आईडीज फॉर ऑल ऑफ देम. और इन सबसे ऊपर टॉप पे आएगा मेरा सर्विस टेस्टिंग, बिकॉज दीज आर दी वन जो आईडीज बनाने वाले हैं. सबसे पहले इन्हीं को हायर करूंगा मैं. दीज आर द गाइस जो आईडी वगैरह बनाने वाले हैं सबके लिए. इधर आई विल हायर ऑन माई पेरोल और आई आउटसोर्स इट टू समवन, बट इन both cases they should be a part here of my tenant. Got it? So this is how a tenant works, and this tenant is the part of Azure Cloud. Now in a tenant, what all do we have and how does it work? I will explain. Do you guys have any question here, any doubt?
No.
We have 3 minutes left in this session. In next session, I will cover tenant, subscription, resource group, because they all are interconnected with each other. So if you guys have any question, please feel free to ask. We have still 3 minutes left. No questions, guys? Right.
No, sir.
Okay. So I'll delete this. Now let's say that this is Azure Cloud. Okay. In this cloud, we have our company called UT-Kloud. The moment you take a tenant or you sign up for a tenant, you by default, what do you get? You get Azure Active Directory. And Azure Active Directory, guys, it is in parallel, right? It is not a hierarchy. Sometimes your tenant will be called your Active Directory also. And nowadays it is called Microsoft Entra ID. Is this clear to everyone? This black line, the blue line is presenting Azure, and now I have removed all other companies. Under this, we have our tenant, which is UT-Kloud. Then in parallel, It is not a hierarchy. Okay, guys, don't get confused. It in parallel. You get your Azure Active Directory, or again, it is called Microsoft Entra ID. Now, it is in parallel. Hence, I'm drawing overlapping these lines so you will understand it well. What is it? It is Azure Active Directory. It is old name. What is new name? Microsoft Entra ID. Exactly same thing. They have just renamed it. Okay. Now, after this, if you want to be a part of my company, if you want to be a part of my company, login, etc., you should be a part of my Active Directory. You should be a part of my Microsoft Entra ID, where you create your users, where I will assign you some roles. ठीक है कि किस तरह का काम आप करने आए हो मेरी कंपनी में, etc. That is your Microsoft Entra ID. Now you have taken a space on rent, but you have not taken any subscription on Azure. So as of now, you will not be able to create anything. Just because you have created a tenant and you have created users, you are not authorized to create services. It is as good as, if I can explain it to you, if you go to Netflix, guys, do you simply go to your Netflix homepage and buy subscription? Can you do that directly without doing anything? Just make the payment. You don't have any
No.
account, you don't have anything. Netflix के होम पेज पे जाओ, पेमेंट करो, यूटिलाइज कर लो. Is that the case?
नहीं,
No.
पहले तो we have
No.
to create our ID and passwords,
ID and
credentials
password.
and
Okay, fine. So the moment you create your ID and password, now you have not paid. You have just used your email address and password, और आपने अपना account बना लिया है Netflix पे. Can you start watching movies now directly? Movies or whatever content? You haven't paid, you
No.
haven't done anything apart from that.
We need subscription.
You need subscription, right? So I hope you understand the difference between creating your account and having a subscription. Similarly, in Azure, just because you have taken a tenant and you have created your ID, that does not mean that you are entitled to create something. You haven't taken any subscription. We are going to see the practical everything यहाँ पर. Without subscription भी कैसे दिखता है वो भी हम देखेंगे. With subscription, but as of now, focus on theory. So I hope this is clear to everyone. So the next layer here, tenant and enter ID, it's parallel. Next layer we have, it's called subscription. You have to take a subscription with Azure. Then only you will be able to do something. Got it, guys? Now, subscription, what is it? What types are there? कैसे ये होता है? We'll see that in next session. We have less than 1 minute left. I'll stop the session if you guys don't have any question. We'll join in 5 minutes, 12:30.